Hi everyone, my name is Liz Tremblay. I'm a graduating senior in the computer science degree program. I have a minor in business analytics, and I am a proud Darwin T. Turner Scholar. So for my senior diversity project, I've thought long and hard about how exactly I wanted to go about this. Originally, I was going to do a poster board. I was going to make a cute little collage on it, kind of add a bunch of little pictures and tchotchkes from the last 5 years, and it was gonna be really cute. Great, but that's kind of a lot of work. And I'll be honest, I'm not that kind of creative. I'm a crafty girly, just not like that. So I kind of thought about other ways, kind of ways that I can even incorporate the skills that I learned from college. I am a computer science major after all, so I'm generally drawn more towards tech anyway. When I think about like being creative and how I've been creative over the last like 5 years, I often think about like the work I've done in graphic design. I've done graphic design, like I'm a UI designer in trade like for work. So I was thinking, hey, like why don't you do graphic design? I've done graphics for like the university before, like done little cute things to put on water bottles and put for marketing. So I was just going to go in that direction, but then I remembered I actually used to vlog for my twin sister when I started college. We were kind of devastated about being apart, so I thought, hey, what better way to kind of show my sister what I'm doing in college than to make a vlog about it? So originally I was vlogging, so I thought, hey, like, why not end where I started and make a vlog? So this is kind of my long form essay vlog about my Turner experience and how that's kind of weaved its way into my college life and how I've learned and grown through it. So with that, let's jump into year one. So in my first year, I was trying very hard to be somebody that I'm not. I think I was overcompensating, as a lot of insecure girlies do, because I didn't really like myself before coming to college. I didn't really like high school Liz. She was a loser. She was someone we don't talk about anymore. And so instead of studying like I should have, I was going and trying to do other things. I was joining way too many clubs. I was going to a bunch of events like in the evenings with my friends. I was sleeping till like 4 in the morning. It was just like a really ruthless cycle, right? When you're not sleeping and you're not eating well and you're not getting all your homework done, like just endless cycle. It was really preventing me from like actually learning, and my grades were really tanking. And ultimately was slowly eating away at my mental health. However, through all of the great turmoil and all of the chaos, what really kept me afloat, I think, was Turner. Turner was like this one like consistent throughout my first year where I think I really appreciated the like first year meetings and like the requirements that were attached to the program. I also attribute a lot of my love for Turner to my mentor Siley. She is such a humble and such a kind person. She was a fifth year, so I was sad to say I only had a year with her as my mentor, but she was the absolute best. She gave me like the best advice. She was a fantastic listener. And what I really needed, I think, was someone to just listen to me pour my heart out. So she was kind of like my therapist almost, because I didn't go to therapy. She always gave the best advice, and when I got myself into a relationship that was really not the best thing for my mental health, she was my shoulder to cry on. She was my words of reason that I really needed. I really miss Siley, and I wish I had more time with her. During my first year too was like super impactful in my growth.
The first year meetings always had really great lessons that were really thoughtful that I always took away from.
I was actually late to my first meeting, which was really awkward. And I'm not really sure how Payne felt about me after that, but they were our first year coordinator instructor person, and they just like they knew what they were doing. Like they were really blunt. You could tell like that they were like a no bullshit type of person, but I actually really appreciated that because in all of our activities, everything that we did was intentional. They had just this way of educating that was like both really intimidating but also like super empowering. So everything that I learned from Peyton, I still really carry with me myself. Like I remember having to write in our journals and this like step into the circles activity where if the statement applied to you, you'd step into the circle and you just kind of like were vulnerable with your peers for this like 20-minute period 30 minutes or however long it was in complete silence. It was really powerful to be very moving to say the least. But they were also gone after my first year. Seems like a pattern. So I was really sad to see them go. They were very cool. At the end of my first year though, I learned a lot about my limits. I kind of got a better understanding of what my boundaries were. I had a good handle on like where I wanted to invest my time too after like my first year, like what really mattered to me, what communities mattered a lot to me. And I made a lot of mistakes my first year, but I did a ton of growing after that. So let's talk about year 2. In the fall of my second year, I started like growing a lot closer to the people that I would consider my closest friends today. A lot of them are like my CS classmates because I was taking a majority like major specific classes at that point. Got to meet some really cool people, and we were consistently in classes together, so naturally like you just kind of gravitate towards those people. And also like suffering alone is never as fun as suffering as a group. So my involvement shifted a lot more into being focused on like communities I cared about. I was in CAS ambassadors, I was a Bearcat coder, and then I also became an ambassador for the Turner program. I was on the community service team my first year. Phoebe was the lead. She was really cool, awesome person to look up to, and I was a very, very ambitious ambassador. I remember I had this idea to do a Turner fashion show, and it would be that like everyone who wanted to be like a designer would kind of create a few designs that were relative back to their like ethnic identity or just their identity in general. And I had this like huge concept where we were going to like provide them the materials and like or like a stipend to like help them with their project. And we'd do this giant show, and it would just be like fantastic. And all of the proceeds would, or any of the like we would do like a donation drive for the Lambda Society, you know. And even though like I think Phoebe had an idea that it was like I was out of my head, and she was always super supportive, and she was always like cheering me on. I think she ultimately knew that like I don't think this is gonna happen, but I'm gonna let her figure it out on her own and kind of like learn those lessons herself. I really appreciated her for that. Being a Turner ambassador overall like helped me grow a lot closer to the community. Being on the back end and like helping out with like the organization part is way different from just being like a participant when it comes to Turner. Like I think like you just go like ultimately so much closer to the Turner program and to the ambassadors, which was like ultimately really awesome. Like I looked up to so many of the older Turners, and a lot of them were part of leadership, and I still like get to talk to some of them today. So it's really cool. After that semester, I was on my first co-op in the spring, and I loved my co-op. God, I would wake up every morning and just like would love going to work. I would look forward to seeing my coworkers every day, look forward to like the dumb conversations we were gonna have at our desks. But all good things must come to an end, as the cliche says. And so COVID hit, and everything just got shot out of the sky. COVID soiled all plans ever. Turner kind of ended up just dissolving after that, in a sense. And just like many other organizations just suffered trying to like keep themselves afloat and keep themselves relevant, and adjust to the new online landscape. My third year, I think, was all about me getting back on track. I kind of went through this like growth phase where I'm like, okay, girl, you gotta like dig yourself out of this whole like COVID thing. You can't get around it. A lot of my classes were still mostly online, and in the fall I was also co-oping, so I was co-oping remotely, and it was honestly awful. I hated my co-op rotation. But when I returned, I wanted to do something that I loved and something that I knew I loved, so it ultimately made me really excited to hop back into classes and like start enjoying my spring semester. And at the beginning of the semester, I joined this club called UAA, United Asian Advocates, and I was their design lead. The role was a lot of work, but honestly it was like one of the most rewarding experiences that I've ever had. I put my soul into everything that I did when I was design lead. All of the designs that I made for all of our flyers, like I really thought long and hard about how can I make like the design of this flyer like relevant to the impact, or kind of reflect the impact that we're trying to make at this event. Through UAA though, when we weren't trying to like foster a safe space for AAPI students on campus, we were like rallying. We were trying to fight for a space for AAPI students here at UC. And through all of that, you kind of get to know what politics and what the behind the scenes looks like when a lot of students can't see that. I don't think the University of Cincinnati invests enough into their ethnic-based and identity-based resources and offices here. They could give a damn if their students of marginalized backgrounds have the cultural resources or staff to support them, so long as they have a check in their pocket. So with that in mind, why would they give a damn about us? Is kind of like how I was thinking about it. And why would they give us the time of day? It was really frustrating, like knowing how much we had to struggle to get our voices heard even for like 2 minutes. My whole experience in UA ultimately gave me like a newfound love and appreciation for like EPS. Keeping consistent staff and tabs on all of your scholars is really hard when the university doesn't give you enough financial assistance or enough support, and also like is trying to push their expansion agenda on you. So I can't even imagine what Dr. Elliott is going through, like literally on a daily basis, when she's managing so much along with having a family. So just knowing all of that, it was just crazy. After the spring, I was back on co-op. It was probably my most favorite rotation of all time. Through all of that, though, I never forgot the fervor that I had for politics and social justice, and I still haven't even now. I left my third year with a new passion and have carried it today. I hope that when I graduate, I can get involved in philanthropy and community work, and then eventually politics. Let's talk about year 4, though. So, my fourth year was pretty much just like one semester because I was on co-op for 2 out of the 3 semesters of my 4th year. At that point in time, my life was starting to spiral though, especially like when I got more in the middle of the semester. I was just suffering a lot from like mental health distress with like drama in my friendships, and my grades were giving me a ton of anxiety because my classes were kind of hard, and it was just becoming overwhelming. However, when I'd stop in EPS, honestly, like, and sign in, just hang out and eat my lunch and just listen to people chat, it felt like the whirlwind that was my life was subsiding just for a few minutes. And I really appreciated that. I didn't have a ton of time to learn anything through my 4th year that was specific to Turner, but again, just like kind of bringing me back into the realm of like appreciating EPS and like in all its glory. Turner's always been like a home, and it's like the cliche that, oh, like Turner is a family, but more than a family, I feel like it's a home to return to. Like when life gets hard, like Turner scholars won't turn their backs on each other. I pretty much wrote a script for all of the years up until my 5th year because I'm currently in my 5th year, and I wanted an opportunity to kind of talk more natural about how Turner has been in my 5th year. So this is actually like the very first year where things feel like they're normal in the EPS, because we have like pretty much a full staff again. We have like an assistant director, and we have like an activities coordinator. We have Marquez and Laura, which you guys are probably the ones watching this primarily, but it finally feels like Turner's like stable again. I think for a while, because we didn't have a consistent staff, it was very difficult to manage all the Turner scholarship requirements and manage the Turner scholars and trying to figure out the next class and like get all the ambassadors like on their feet again after COVID. So this year, like all of the events that normally happened. We had Turner Olympics, we had Turner Serves, we had inductions, we're having end of the year ceremony. I so much missed like being in a normal Turner semester. I feel really old because a lot of my classes graduated, and I am like one of the few 5th years that are still straggling behind finishing up their degree. So it was kind of sad seeing them go when I was a 4th year, but now I just have so much gratitude for this program. Turner Serves, like, although I was doing a lot of like the heavy lifting labor that a lot of Turners don't want to do, there's like I got to meet some people, but it was really cool, like just getting to see what the new Turners had in store. They're very similar to me. We had very similar interests. They were talking about video games, and I don't know if they could hear me. Forget if we talked about it or not, but I also love video games, so I was just enjoying talking, listening to them talk about it. And then for Turner inductions, it's really awesome getting to see like the new faces of Turner kind of walk in as I'm walking out. And then one of my favorite events that has happened this whole year has been Breakfast of Champions. I think my 5th year, now I'm in as a 5th year, I finally have some people that I think really deserve my Breakfast of Champions nomination. So I nominated 2 people, and I think they really enjoyed being there. Like my one professor, Dr. Neal, he was just like overwhelmed with like how much he was like happy that he was being nominated, because he really appreciates student honors, and he's like one of my favorite professors of all time. Like I actually feel like I learned from him, and I think he really has a care for his students and their learning, and you can see that when you're in his class, and he makes class like fun to go to. So we're sitting with other professors and like staff of CAS and just having a good time, like eating a good breakfast and honoring these people, which is really cool. And then now, like end of the year ceremony, I'm gonna get my stole, which I've been literally waiting for the last 5 years. Like I literally dreamed of this day since I was a freshman, when I saw at my end of the year ceremony all of these amazing seniors get their stoles and walk across the stage and be honored by EPS. Like I am so excited. So see me smiling ear to ear, that's probably why. I think overall, like within my college experience, like, I think I've just learned that, like, Turner keeps me grounded. Turner's always been this, like, humble place where it fosters new beginnings and fosters mentorship and really brings up people, and I feel like a lot of my hard work has cultivated up into my 5th year, so, like, really reminding me that, like, you are doing, like, something on campuses and you are making some kind of impact. So, like, sit down and be a little easy on yourself and let yourself, like, bask in your success for just a hot minute. I presented my Senior Design Expo project. I'm so glad it's over. I think overall, though, in college, I've kind of learned who I want to become. I've found, like, where my passions lie, like, what I actually care about in my life, and I didn't really know that when I started college. I was just kind of, like, creating some kind of, like, future path that I think reflected what everyone else was doing so I could look impressive, but now I'm, like, learning that I'm living for me, and I want to do these things for not just myself, but for other people. Like, I love serving people, I love helping people, I love mentoring. That's, like, such a big thing for me. So I think after graduation, I'm not just going to sit on my butt and go to my 9 to 5. I want to help out at, like, my local Boys and Girls Club, or in some way, like, help organize something, because I know I have the skills for it. I think my involvement on campus has done that. It's kind of shown me that. So yeah, I'm excited to see where life takes me, and I think Turner has ultimately helped me get there.